Hey guys, today I'm going to be reviewing why Batman the Animated Series is without a doubt one of the greatest cartoons ever made. But really quick, before we get into it, leave a like and subscribe if you like the video. And let me know what your favorite cartoon ever is in the comments below, because I legit might have to say that this show is my new favorite one ever. For this video, I'm going to break my analysis into 4 parts: animation, characters, story, and music. Although the show excelled in practically every aspect of production, these are some of the major ones that I will be focusing on. Okay, with that out of the way, let's jump right in. The first category I'm talking about is animation. Let me just start off by saying that this series consistently had animated movie levels of animation in terms of fluid movement and shading every single shot. Let me say that again, shading every single shot. Cartoons almost never shade shots because it is so much more work and detail, but the aesthetic of this show was a dark atmosphere that had a constant element of shadows. So in order to cater to the show's atmosphere, the animation team put extra work in to literally shade every single shot. That kind of crazy level of detail separates this cartoon from many others during its time and since. And it's not just the shading, but the movements of the characters are much more fluid than almost any other animated series I've ever watched. Just on top of all of this, the animation is so detailed. From the backgrounds to the characters' designs, there is so much detail put into every shot, and it's really impressive. If you recall my video about the best cartoon for every category, Batman the Animated Series was my runner-up to Primal in terms of animation, and that's really saying something. I mean, just look at the animation that's on screen right now. If you didn't know better, you would for sure think these shots were from some kind of high-budget animated Batman movie, not a show. The animation quality is literally movie level for every episode and is definitely one of the strong points for the show. Batman the Animated Series has some of the most complex, well-written characters I have ever seen from any cartoon. If you have not watched the series, let me inform you. The writing team behind the show made it a point of emphasis to give practically every villain an origins episode that not only introduces a new character and their traits, but gives them realistic motivations and even makes the audience sympathize for them, which is really unheard of for villains in a kid's cartoon. The villains in Batman the Animated Series are not just evil for the sake of being evil, but most of the time are real people who go through a bad situation and end up losing their sanity because of it. Take the example of Mr. Freeze. The character had been killed off in the comics, and the team from the show rewrote his origin story and made it so good that the main DC comic book canon revived Mr. Freeze and changed his origin story to match the show. You heard me correctly. The writing on this show was so good that they literally brought people back from the dead. And it's not just with the villains. Heroes like Batman and Robin and Gordon are all complex characters. A quick example of how the team dives into the deep, dark parts of Batman's mind, such as him growing weary and tired from his efforts seemingly having no effect, or his trauma from his parents' death. Trust me, this show, although a kid show, is honestly made much more for adults, and the complexity and realism of the characters is sure to impress and capture an adult audience. Something you should know about Batman the Animated Series is that it had some of the best writing from any animated show ever, and that includes the stories for each episode. Let me start this category off with a fun fact. The reason the series ended wasn't because of bad ratings or anything like that. It was because the team behind the series ran out of good ideas for new episodes, and they didn't want to tarnish the reputation of the show with lesser stories and episodes, which is something you definitely don't see with a lot of cartoons nowadays. SpongeBob, Simpsons. That right there shows you the amount of care the team put into the quality of their plots. And this level of quality was recognized by fans and critics alike, as these episodes were often called mini-movies because the writing was literally movie grade. The writing team did a perfect job of balancing character development, plot progression, and action sequences throughout each episode. And something really cool about Batman the Animated Series was that they consistently turned seemingly weird and unique storylines into masterpieces that were way better than they had any right to be. On top of that, the show included a level of complexity in its plots that made the end result feel more rewarding as all the pieces came together in perfect fashion. This show had extremely mature, tight, well-written episodes with new, fresh plots that never disappointed and almost always exceeded expectations. Something that might not be as recognized as the other categories, but was done just as masterfully, was the music of Batman the Animated Series. Shirley Walker, the main composer for the show, did an excellent job creating memorable cinematic themes that really set the mood for each episode. When I was ranking the best soundtracks for every cartoon I had ever watched, this show was my second choice behind Infinity Train, and that's no mistake. Practically every episode is completed by the awesome score that really enhances the moment. Remember how I said many critics and producers often referred to the episodes as mini-movies? A big part of that was the cinema levels of music that accompanied every episode. The series just had a wonderful score from a grand orchestra that really made each episode feel larger than life. And that's the kind of impact music had on Batman the Animated Series. Batman the Animated Series is nearly perfect in every aspect of production and execution, and is seriously contending with Gravity Falls for my choice of the best cartoon of all time. And I think I might be willing to finally put it ahead of Gravity Falls at this point, now having finished the entire show. This show is one of the best animated series of all time. That is an objective fact, not opinion. The series just absolutely blew me away with how good it was, and it's really hard for me to describe it to you unless you have already seen the show yourself. That being said, if you have not checked it out, the whole series is free on HBO Max if you have that. And I would really recommend just watching a few episodes if you have the time. Trust me, for most of you out there who like animation in general, you'll be hard-pressed to find a better animated show out there. And I really think most of you would absolutely love this show if you gave it a chance. If you want some ideas on what are some of the best episodes to watch, I'm going to be making a top 10 best episodes list for this show. and that video will hopefully come out sometime this month. Thank you guys for watching the video. Leave a like if you liked it, and I hope you all enjoyed. Let me know in the comments if you have watched the show or are considering checking it out. Anyways, I'll catch you all on the next one. Have a great day.